What would you do if the state gave a prisoner three choices for how to die? Poison injection, electric chair, or a firing squad? One man in South Carolina made a shocking decision. He chose to be shot. Moments later, witnesses sat behind bulletproof glass as a hood was placed over his head. A red target was fixed on his chest. Three hidden rifles aimed straight at his heart. No countdown, no warning. Then suddenly, three gunshots echoed through the execution chamber. For the first time in 15 years, an American death row inmate was executed by firing squad. But the story behind this execution and the crime that led to it is far more disturbing. How did a man who once shared meals with fellow inmates and spoke about love in his final words end up facing a firing squad? And why did he choose bullets over poison or electricity? To understand that, we have to go back to a brutal double murder that shocked South Carolina more than 2 decades ago. A man on death row in South Carolina has become the first inmate in the United States in 15 years to be executed by firing squad. The prisoner, 67-year-old Brad Sigmund, was put to death on Friday evening at a state correctional facility. Shortly after 6 p.m. local time, 3 volunteer members of the corrections department fired rifles at his chest, ending his life. Sigmund had been sentenced to death for a violent crime committed in 2001. He was convicted of beating his former girlfriend's parents, David and Gladys Lark, to death with a baseball bat. After the killings, Sigmund abducted his ex-girlfriend at gunpoint. She managed to escape while he fired shots at her during the struggle. Decades later, when the time came for his execution, Sigmund rejected the 2 other legal methods in the state, lethal injection and the electric chair. Instead, he chose to die by firing squad. According to Christy Shane of the South Carolina Department of Corrections, Sigmund was officially pronounced dead at 6:08 p.m. Several witnesses observed the execution, including 3 members of the victim's family and Sigmund's spiritual advisor. Witnesses described the scene in the chamber. Sigmund was secured to a chair with restraints. Below the seat was a metal basin designed to catch blood. Before the execution began, Sigmund delivered his final statement. He said he wanted his last words to be about love and faith, urging fellow Christians to oppose the death penalty. He also reflected on the biblical phrase, an eye for an eye, saying that when his case went to trial, he did not understand how that belief had influenced the jury's decision. Sigmund said he had come to believe that people should live by the teachings of the New Testament, not the laws of the Old Testament. After speaking, a hood was placed over his head. At 6:01 p.m., a curtain inside the chamber opened, revealing the firing position behind it. The shooters themselves remained hidden. 4 minutes later, at 6:05 p.m., 3 rifles fired simultaneously from about 15 feet away. A reporter who witnessed the execution said a red target had been placed over Sigmund's heart. When the bullets struck, his chest briefly rose and fell several times. A doctor stepped forward, examined him for roughly 90 seconds, and then officially declared him dead. The ammunition used in the execution was .308 Winchester Tap urban rounds, a type of bullet designed to fragment on impact and cause severe internal damage. Medical experts have long debated how much pain such ammunition may inflict. Another witness reported that Sigmund was wearing a black prison jumpsuit, but his arms were uncovered. When the shots were fired, his arms appeared to tense or flex. Because the execution chamber is small, prison officials offered earplugs to witnesses before the shots were fired. Afterward, the corrections department said counseling services would be available for any staff members who might be emotionally affected by the execution. Sigmund's attorney, Bo King, had hoped the governor would grant a last-minute reprieve. He also criticized the state for not providing full details about the chemicals used in lethal injections. According to King, Sigmund only wanted reassurance that the drugs used for lethal injection were safe and not expired or contaminated. The lawyer argued that in modern times, executing someone by firing squad was a disturbing spectacle. King also said his client had struggled with mental illness during his life. He pointed out that Sigmund had built friendships with other prisoners and had shown signs of personal change while incarcerated. Earlier that day, King shared another unusual detail. For his final meal, Sigmund had asked for 3 large buckets of Kentucky Fried Chicken so he could share them with fellow inmates on death row. However, the request to share the meal was reportedly denied. Instead, his final meal included fried chicken, green beans, mashed potatoes with gravy, biscuits, cheesecake, and sweet tea, served 2 days before the execution. Executions by firing squad are extremely rare in modern America. Since 1977, only 3 executions in the United States had been carried out using that method, all of them in Utah. The most recent was Ronnie Lee Gardner in 2010. Outside the prison in Columbia, South Carolina, protesters gathered before Sigmund's execution. Many carried signs with messages such as "All life is precious" and "Thou shalt not kill." Under a law passed in 2023, the identities of the execution team members must remain secret. Witnesses watch from behind bulletproof glass while the shooters remain hidden to protect their anonymity.